Welcome to MyFinJourney, the podcast that breaks down the barriers of traditional finance and explores ways people are growing their wealth. Have you ever found yourself scared while networking, or stuck with fear while public speaking, or are you just hungry to learn and grow? If any of these sound like you, then today's episode will help you unlock the secrets to mastering public speaking. I'm pleased to welcome Waqas Rehman. He's helping smart, ambitious people speak with confidence and authority. In only 8 weeks, he's changing people's lives. Today, we dive into the psychology of confidence, how to master your presence, and how to leverage your voice to grow your wealth. Let's dive in. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting. Happy to share my insights and what I learned so far.
I love it. No problem. So I kind of want to understand, help us walk through that journey. Waqas before he mastered public speaking to Waqas now.
Oh man, where do we start? It's not an easy question. I lived my entire life being a shy and introverted person. And there's a whole lot of things that went into shaping the identity that I've lived with. Being bullied my entire school life, then being given these messages that I'm not good enough, or I'm only good enough if other people are thinking well of me. So all that contributed to me not being able to express myself openly in public. And that was me until I came to US back in 2019. And I was in this event called Celebration of Nations at our university. In that event, I was really feeling confident. I have overcome my anxiety, my fears. And I was greeting all the guests at our booth. So we were having a booth to showcase our culture to the people who were visiting, because that event was about showcasing what your culture is about. We were representing our country, Pakistan. And I was in charge of selling food because we wanted to make some money out of it as well. And we had the famous chicken biryani at our booth that day. For some moments, I thought, maybe today I finally overcome my social anxieties because I'm really fluent. I can speak well in English. I faced a lot growing up. And that day, I had this fluency going on. I thought, okay, maybe finally today I've overcome the anxieties, the social pressure and stuff like that. But all that confidence starts to fade away the moment I saw the media team from our university. They were visiting each booth and asking questions to the individuals. When I looked at the media team, it appeared to me as if I've just spotted the angels of death, and they have the mic in their hand. I'm just waiting for my turn. As they were inching towards our booth, I was just trying to think about how can I possibly avoid this embarrassment that's going to happen soon. While growing up, I always acted invisible. I never wanted to attract any attention, and that helped me avoid the bullying in school. And I was thinking that I can maybe use the same approach and I can just act as if I'm invisible and no one can see me. But when that reporter approaches our booth, he asks me this question like, hey, hello there. How have you found living in Missouri in Rolla so far? So Rolla is the name of the town in Missouri where our university is located. In that moment, it just hit me. I'm not invisible anymore. They can see me. They can ask me questions. And now I'm supposed to answer. I was the last one in that interview. They interviewed my other colleagues before me. They were really eloquent. I was also thinking that I'm just ruining the interview. I'm just bringing shame to our booth, our culture. All of a sudden, I just blurted something out for about 15 seconds, 20 seconds. But it didn't make any sense. A few words, broken words put together in a weird sequence. And I thought, what I'm doing, I'm just wanting to get over with this entire thing. Once I was done, I realized what just happened. It just literally crushed me. I felt humiliated because it was being recorded in a video camera in front of the entire media team, my friends, my colleagues. I was thinking, what the heck did I do? And that actually crushed my soul, crushed my confidence, and I was humiliated. That was the most heart-wrenching moment that day. The confidence I felt initially in that event, I was the opposite of what I felt initially. I was the least confident person in the entire gathering. And there were thousands of people in that event. That event haunted me for so long, maybe for a year or so. That was my aha moment. It's not going to go like that anymore. Because I was doing PhD in engineering, and being a PhD graduate, I knew I had to lead a team. I would be leading teams. I would be briefing executives of the companies. So that was my call to action that I need to do something about it. And then there on, I took this journey, this challenge to transform from Waqas 1.0 to 2.0. And that's where we are meeting today.
I love it, Waqas. It really hits home because I think for a lot of people, there needs to be some kind of experience that is our version of rock bottom to really position us to reflect, to think, hey, where do I want to be in the future? And then ultimately, how do I get there? It's uncomfortable when you're in a position where you feel ready to succeed. And then you're met with this even more of a bigger challenge than maybe you expected. For you, it was the recorder, the camera, the mic.
English being your second language, that's another barrier. I've struggled with English my entire life. There's a story on my LinkedIn profile. I took learning English personally. It happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It always made me feel I'm not good enough because I can't speak English well. That fear was also there when I was being interviewed in that event.
So I think, Waqas, this is a great point that I just want to pause on, if that's okay. I think if you've ever found yourself feeling uncomfortable because English is your second language, whatever platform you're on, if it's YouTube, just comment below. And hopefully either Waqas or myself can go back and drop some wisdom or share some advice on how to overcome these different things. Because it's one of those things that in life, a lot of people don't feel comfortable sharing their weaknesses. And it's hard to grow if you just focus on your strengths all the time. Sometimes you have to position your weaknesses so that they're not impeding your growth and so that you're able to minimize it. And Waqas, this leads me to another question that I had for you, or really I just wanted your feedback on the idea of fake it till you make it.
Sure. So I went through that as well. When I started, or when I promised myself to do something about it, I tried everything. I read books, I watched YouTube videos, I bought digital courses, I went to day-long boot camps, and I went to Toastmasters. In the Toastmasters, what I was doing is I was just faking it. I knew I was not born a public speaker. I can never become a public speaker, but I was just faking it in the hope that someday, maybe in the future, I might become what I'm faking. So all along, I was faking it, embarrassed to share that I was faking it all along. And that was one of the biggest fear that was always I carried, that I'm faking it. But what if this imposter gets exposed someday in the future? Because there was no guarantee that I can become a public speaker. And it was not until I met my coach. So my coach, I really want to appreciate what he did for me, Kit Pang. So he actually introduced me to this idea of getting to the bottom of the root cause, getting to the bottom of the problem. So the problem was the self-esteem issues. I have deep down the self-esteem issues. I'm not good enough. And I'm good enough if other people think well of me. I had a whole lot of self-esteem issues that was causing me anxiety in the first place. But what we do in our common techniques, removing the filler words, mastering your hand gestures, standing on stage, or mastering your voice inflection, faking it till you make it, these techniques, they don't even touch what is causing the anxiety in the first place. So the anxiety is stemming from the root causes. I'm not good enough. Something is wrong with me. I'm not important. I'm good enough if other people think well of me. And making mistakes is bad. So faking it till you make it, it never even touches the root causes. So I'm totally not up for the idea of embracing it till you make it, because you won't be able to make it. If you do, you might create this new syndrome, like the imposter syndrome. How are you going to get rid of that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things we agree on, Waqas. And I think this is the area where we disagree, because I'm I am a strong believer in fake it till you make it.
Okay.
But I think you hit the nail on the head when you say, what does that cause? It causes imposter syndrome. It causes a new problem, which I completely agree with. I think you already have the solution there. And I just want to rewind for the audience, for their benefit, to say that there's a huge value in finding the right coach. And sometimes we're in a situation where we just have a blind spot and we don't know what that blind spot is. But that coach has coached so many different people through similar types of problems that for him, it's just like a checklist. Hey, you have this problem, no problem, we can manage it. I wanted to understand from your perspective, you've worked with a lot of high-performing founders, coaches, executives. Looking at that audience and people in general, what is the biggest misunderstanding or misconception people have with respect to public speaking, both the average layperson and that high-performing individual?
The biggest misconception I found that I'm alone and unique in this problem. If you look at the history, the famous public speakers went through similar challenges, and those were introverted. I can count the names. Winston Churchill was introverted and he failed horribly in his first speech in the House of Commons. John Abraham suffered from the same anxieties and was very shy and introverted when he started out. Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett. These guys went through the same problems. It was not that they were born public speakers. They had to overcome it. They had to learn the skills needed to communicate effectively. If they can do it, why can't you? I tell my stories on stages in front of 300 plus audience members. So far, I've told 4 stories in 5 months, right? And I've shared my vulnerabilities out in the open. Last month, I shared my story where I shared the struggles I had to face in my school with all the bullying and how it is affecting me even today. So I'm like an open book. I don't fear the fear of judgment from anyone out there. So the point is that if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. And it's just that you need to have the right mindset and the right guidance to take you from here to here.
I love it, man. I love it. Thank you, Waqas. So Waqas, you touched on mindset just now. You touched on guidance. I feel like you touched on psychology when you talked about really getting to the root cause of why people can't public speak or can't public speak well. And you approached it from an angle that maybe the audience hasn't heard before, that a lot of public speakers are focusing on filler words, on tonality, like how you speak, how the words come out, versus addressing the root cause. From your perspective, other than really going deep down and understanding the root cause, how do you coach clients and what does the ideal client look like for you?
Okay, that's a great question. So the ideal client for me is my older self. If I look at myself 5 years ago and what struggles I went through, what was going on in my head if I was asked to give a presentation, if I was asked to say something, just introduce myself in a Zoom meeting, it was a total train wreck, right? So I see someone going through same challenges and thinking about that they were not born as a public speaker, something is wrong with them, they're alone, they're unique, and there's no way in the world that they can possibly overcome this challenge. So I would see myself 5 years ago, and that would be the ideal client for me. I used to get worried sick even weeks before a scheduled presentation. I wouldn't be able to introduce myself. So what I was doing is I was just reading the slides. That was my coping mechanism. Whenever there's a presentation, I would just go there, put everything on the slides, just read the slides. I met people who came to me and told me that they script everything for their upcoming presentation. So they just can't say anything off script. My ideal client is someone, could be someone who can't be themselves out in the open. It could be someone who is doing public speaking, but deep down, they don't feel good enough. They feel like an imposter. They feel they're just faking it. They've been doing it for 50 years and they still feel like they're faking it. That's the problem with fake it till you make it. You will never be able to make it.
I hear exactly what you're saying and I can respect it. So from your perspective, you also touched on amazing people who've done amazing work, who had to really upskill themselves, had to recognize that public speaking is a weakness of theirs and had to really be proactive about improving. So that way they could actually implement their vision and change the world, people like Winston Churchill, etc. So from your perspective, what is the risk associated with growing and changing? What is the risk associated with investing time in improving your public speaking?
The risk that I felt when I took on this journey was I was just throwing darts in the dark. I never knew what I'm doing would actually work. I was just so much hurt from that incident. I just wanted to do something. I didn't know what is the right way, and I didn't know how can I quickly get there. The risk to me was, what if I just keep doing this entire thing for years and I'm still the same shy and introverted person who just got humiliated in 2019? And that is the risk that I see in most people who come to me, that what if this doesn't work? To answer that question, if what I do resonates with you, if you can feel it, then I can take you from here to here. That's the only guarantee that I can give. Otherwise, you can just go there and see if I've helped other people, what they're saying. You can just get in touch with them. There's no way I can remove that risk completely. And that was the risk that I took. And I'm glad that I took, because otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
I love it, Waqas. I want to pause for a second and just say that if you found something valuable so far, please consider sharing the episode with a friend, leave a 5-star review, hit subscribe so you never miss a conversation, and comment below so that we can interact with you directly. Ultimately, what Waqas is saying here is he recognized that he wanted to address this problem. The biggest concern he had is, what if I'm never able to efficiently address this problem because I lack the vision? Like, I see I'm in this forest, this challenge of the inability to speak publicly, and I don't know the most efficient path to get through this challenge. And I think Waqas already answered that question for us. It's to find the right person, find the right mentor, find the right coach, and they will help guide you through that more efficiently. I'm curious, how has mastering public speaking changed your outlook on personal finance? Is it more of the same, understand the core problem and find a mentor or find a resource to help you through your own personal finance goals? Or is it something different?
That's a very good question. Where I am today, having this vision to help others and help myself, because I work in corporate and we can't achieve freedom in corporate. There's always a ceiling, right? You can't go beyond that ceiling. But if you have something of your own that you can call mine, there's no ceiling. As much energy you put into it, you will get the outcome. Certainly it takes effort, but if you have the vision, if you have the persistence, and doing my PhD, I got that persistence. So I don't accept failure that easily. So I know that I can get there. So financially, I see a lot of opportunities because this is a problem I went through. And I know there are like 70, 80% people who are going through the similar problem. It's just that I need to be seen and heard. They need to see that there is someone who went through similar challenges and maybe he can help me. So I need to be there. And that's what I'm doing on LinkedIn. I'm just trying to spread my word out, telling them that I am the example. I can do it. Anyone can do it.
And if you think about it, going from A to Z in 8 weeks, it's life-changing. And I think it's one of those things that people don't necessarily realize sometimes, that they have this weakness, because as people, sometimes we like having that blind spot and thinking that everything is perfect. So I'm curious to hear from your perspective, what does financial freedom mean?
That's a very nice question. For me, financial freedom is not worrying about if I'm earning, let's say, $1 million, but I'm still stuck to the routine that is not laid out by me, but by someone else. And at the end of the day, they can just lay me off. I was at Lucid Motors and everything was going smooth. And the next day we found out that they're going to lay off like 1,300 employees in just one go. I was like, they can just lay off anyone so easily. I can't call that mine. Whatever I'm putting into, I'm just trading my time with money. The money that goes into mortgage, and I can't get my financial freedom with that money. Financial freedom looks like owning what I can call mine, owning my time, and owning when to work and who to work with. I've done my PhD in electrical engineering. I worked in EV charging station and stuff like that. I like that stuff, but it's just that I can't call that mine. It is for someone else. It'll never be mine. They can just lay me off next year, next month. I don't know. But this thing, what I have here, I feel passionate about. I have overcome, I have gone through this experience, and I know I can help others at the end of the day. That's the most important part for me. That's the biggest freedom I think I can have.
I love it, Waqas. I think you summarized it quite eloquently, in the sense that part of freedom is passion, part of freedom is control, and it's also lifestyle design, just being hyper intentional. For me, when I think of financial freedom, I think a lot of people who have anxiety around public speaking also don't necessarily know where they are financially, in the sense that there's a lot of anxiety around money. It can be difficult for people to talk about. But the minute you understand those core values, you get to that deeper truth, you get to that root problem, you're able to build out a strategy to really build financial freedom. So I'm curious to hear, Waqas, from your perspective, from all the people that you've mentored, have you noticed any kind of correlation between anxiety around building a path to financial freedom and anxiety around public speaking, or not really?
I do see that. So imagine me being the same person as I was year before 2019. I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing right now. I had so many fears and self-doubts about me being good enough that I wouldn't be able to take the next step, the first step. Since I've overcome a fear that was very crippling for me at that time, I got so much boost in my self-confidence that now I think that I can achieve anything that is humanly possible. So it's basically not only for public speaking, it boosts your entire self-confidence. It is not only on stage, but also off stage. It shows up in every aspect of your life.
I love it, Waqas. For me, if I was looking to upskill my public speaking, I would definitely reach out to you. But if you're somebody who thinks, hey, I don't need help, I can do everything by myself, I can read this book, I can fake it till I make it, I can do it myself, I don't need help. For that person who happens to be listening to this podcast, what would you recommend that they start with as a minimum viable product, as a first step to really address the fear and anxiety around public speaking?
Okay, so before I answer that question, just a thought that popped up in my mind. So if there's a person who had similar issues, who are going through this anxiety, this fear, I want to think of an analogy. So imagine that a person, who is drowning in a lake. Do you think they will be able to help themselves? They don't have the skills. They don't know how to swim. I don't think that you can get out of that situation on your own. If it's possible, it'll take a whole lot of time. And let's say if you're able to do it after 2 years, then think about the opportunities that you will lose in those 2 years. So for me, just to get people started, I can probably share a guide with you that you can share with your audience. That should be a good starting point.
Thank you, Waqas. I think you eloquently stated that you might be able to figure it out yourself, but there's a huge opportunity cost, and that opportunity cost is time. So what do you think the value of your own time is? And that's really important on any journey of personal growth. The value of your time and figuring that out for yourself is huge. Waqas, I really want to thank you for joining us today in the conversation. It was amazing to learn about a skill set that I don't think people think about, to be honest with you. I don't think we go to school and think about, hey, I need to improve my public speaking. Ultimately, I think that self-confidence, knowing yourself, understanding where you stand, is a core issue that even public speaking coaches don't usually address. So I think you've shined a light today on something that's very easy to miss. It's a huge blind spot for a lot of people. And I hope they do reach out to you to improve their public speaking. Before we sign off, I really want to understand, where can people reach out to you, Waqas?
A very good starting point could be my LinkedIn profile. And if they want to dive deep into the philosophy of how I fix this issue, I have a weekly newsletter. So I've been posting my weekly newsletter since 2023, January. So I posted so far like 70-ish newsletters, which means I have laid everything out in the open and they can read through it and see if they resonate with my philosophy. If they can, welcome. If they cannot, and it was nice meeting you.
I love it, Waqas. Once again, this has been Waqas Rehman, sharing with us a lot of wisdom in public speaking and personal confidence. Thanks again for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please consider sharing it with somebody else who you think might benefit from improving their public speaking. Consider leaving a 5-star review and hit subscribe so you don't miss episodes like this. See you guys in the next episode.